सिद्धानंद जी, आप शुरू कर सकते हैं. यू कैन स्टार्ट राइट नाउ बाय अनम्यूटिंग.
Okay, sure. Just a moment. Namaste and good evening, everybody. These topics that we have been taking are of a very serious nature, and we wish to go about the discussion with that seriousness. When we say something is serious, in no way it means anybody should be getting into some kind of tension. On the contrary, seriousness requires attention. And where there is attention, there is no tension. This evening we have this theme. What is the meaning of observing holistically? Holistic observation. When we come into Krishnaji's teachings, the word observe is so commonly found, to such an extent that sometimes it seems that no matter what topic you take, all of it finally boils down to observing, watching, being aware of. In view of observing, watching, or being aware of being so central to hundreds of subjects or topics, it becomes all the more important that we understand what is true observation. Holistic observation is true observation. If we are aware of what is in a holistic way, then there is true watching. Therefore, we are trying to find out what holistic observation is. I already put a quote in the chat box. If some of you wish to see, you may as well see. Can your brain observe something? Can your brain observe something whole without any kind of fragmentation? Intelligence is non-fragmentation. And the brain which investigates is fragmented, broken up, and functions in a very small field of knowledge. Therefore, this cannot see that. This is a quote, I believe, from a dialogue with Asit Chandmal at Brockwood in 1982. It's on your chat box. You may as well take it anytime. Here we see the crux of the matter is holistic observation is non-fragmented. Can we observe something whole without any kind of fragmentation is the great question Krishnaji asks us. And he remarks he makes this remark so candidly that the human brain, which investigates so many issues, is fragmented. Therefore, we need to now go into what is fragmentation. Fragmentation, it seems to me, is of several kinds, but essentially it is dividing up things on the criterion of self-interest and what is not feeding the self-interest. I believe when Bengal was in the grip of a very bad drought, maybe 1935 or some such year, Bengal, whole of India was under the British. Bengal was part of it. I don't know how many lakhs of people died in that drought. No food for people. A ship loaded with lot of food was sent by England, and it was coming pretty close to Kolkata. Maybe another 24 hours and it would arrive at the Kolkata harbor. Winston Churchill, who otherwise is praised in so many contexts, is said to have ordered, let that ship be brought back to England. Then some officers, administrators said to him, sir, but in Bengal, people are dying in hundreds of thousands, and this ship was sent for the purpose of providing some relief to them. And it is said he made a statement like, all that is created by themselves, and they are like insects. Don't worry about them. Let the ship come back to England. And so the ship was sent back to England, and another few lakhs of people just died in one of the worst droughts that Bengal's encountered. There is a Winston Churchill in every one of us who would, with all our qualification and intelligence and skills and whatnot, with all the glitter and glamour that we may have about us, we would at times behave so insensitively. Like Churchill called people of Bengal insects. Let those insects die. Let the ship be brought back, for there is need for food in England. The division, others and us, that is fragmentation. Holistic observation is observing without fragmentation. The word holistic in recent times, maybe for 10, 20 or 30 years now, is extensively used everywhere, and especially in the field of education. Everyone starting a school or running a school claims we offer holistic education. And a large number of them do not even know what holistic education means. They think if a school offers swimming, horse riding, kabaddi, kho and lots of extracurricular, co-curricular activities, and in the subjects also, all kinds of fancy subjects. Our high school offers graphic design. No other school offers. So a large number of subjects, skills offered at that school, and then they say that is holistic education. That is such a distortion, that is such a travesty of truth. Holistic education has nothing to do with our child learning lot of things. The child is learning piano also, the child is learning karate also, the child is learning horse riding. My child is into swimming classes. Okay, but that has nothing to do with holistic education. So first of all, outwardly also, holistic education doesn't have anything to do with quantity or the number of subjects, number of things. For every child is unique. Some children may have a taste for many subjects, many extracurricular activities, and many others do not have a taste. Why do you want to impose on them all kinds of activities? You will distort their psyche rather than help them. But in this statement, can your brain observe something whole without any kind of fragmentation? There is reference not only to the outer activities, but the inner movement of the psyche. Outwardly and inwardly, is there an attention which is not hindered or influenced by self-interest? For the self itself needs to be questioned. The self itself is of questionable credentials. Once we allow our observation to be fragmented, one last reference to the quote that I shared with all of you. Once our investigation is fragmented, broken up, it functions in a small field of knowledge. Already in our society, we have divisions of caste, of color of the skin, of language, of gender, and so on. As though that is not enough, in our own particular ways, we develop certain notions. This is in my interest. If I do this, I will become famous. If I do that, I will make a lot of money. Or sometimes it is nothing to do with my becoming somebody or something. I notice that in a certain proposal, certain option before me, if I go for it, somebody whom I don't like will get a lesson of his life. And I want it. I want somebody to get the lesson of his life or her life. Oh, that is called fragmentation. So everything else has become unimportant, and this lady or that man getting a lesson of his or her life has become so important. That is fragmentation. For the psyche in us then gets hijacked by a particular urge. So what is holistic observation? Let me put it now in a simple way. Holistic observation requires that we notice the direction in which thought is going, and we also notice what might be prompting thought to go in that direction. So the word whole, as all of you know, WHOLE is whole, and from that word whole, two words are derived. Holistic, spelled as WHOLISTIC, or holistic, pronunciation is the same, HOLISTIC. If you check with any good dictionary, both the words are valid and both the words mean the same. However, in usage, people have more or less stopped using the spelling with W. They just use HOLISTIC. It means WHOLISTIC. So, to put it in simple terms, holistic observation is to see different dimensions of outer activity, our own psychological activity, what thought proposes as a gain or a loss, and what thought brings in the form of certain emotions. There is fear, for example. To notice fear, and then why call it observing the whole? When there is fear, right there is a basis for fear. There is a cause for fear. In no way am I saying analyze that cause. Another session we must devote to that very challenging statement by Krishna ji, where he says analysis is paralysis. That's a big brain teaser. Unless one is exposed to the material in a proper way, one would wonder why analysis should be called paralysis and what is wrong with analysis. But we shall touch upon it briefly here. When you analyze, when you go cause hunting, when you split things into parts, right away in that process, without your knowing what you are doing, you assume a certain position. You become the analyst. Like Winston Churchill, even as he thought over the situation, the ship with lots of food is about to reach Calcutta those days. His psyche acted up. Is that going to help us or is that going to help them? And fragmented. And the so-called intelligence in him, shame upon it, I say shame, that intelligence, so-called intelligence said to him, this ship reaching Calcutta in no way will help us in England. Fragmentation, them and us. All humanitarian values went up in thin air. But I said last time also, there is a Winston Churchill in every one of us. Smart, well-informed, well-traveled, and everything. But there is the voice of the self, self-interest and interest of others. Holistic observation has to break this barrier, has to notice this self and question what this self is after all. Is the interest of my people more important than the interest of others on some valid ground. That doesn't mean you act in a foolish way and every time allow everybody to walk over you. These questions always arise. Whenever some wisdom comes our way, our self, the ego in us reacts. Oh, all this is not practical. If we go about matters in this way, very soon we have to close our shop and all others will be having a good time. In this way, it acts up. So one has to be careful. In the name of rising above self-interest, we are not at all talking about self-destruction, that is, the basic biological needs, the basic genuine needs of ours are not to be ignored. So time and again, friends, we need to make a distinction between psychological needs and biological needs. And in the name of rising above self-interest, we of course cannot act in a foolish way. That would be the case when we cultivate a certain value, always arguing for the other party. Then the so-called our own side, our own party would be put to tremendous injustice. To care for others doesn't mean neglect yourself, and to care for yourself should not be neglecting others. Holistic observation has to care for all. I care for my family also. I care for neighbors also. Caring for neighbors, if I end up making my family members starve, what wisdom is that? And caring for my family, if I close my eyes to the suffering of neighbors, is that wisdom at all? Lastly, the good news is every one of us actually does have an unfettered intelligence in us. Intelligence that is not shackled. It is through inattention that fetters, shackles come about. Various imaginary and imagined boundaries rise from nowhere when we live in inattention. A Sanskrit word which is used in traditional Indian wisdom is aviveka. When there is aviveka, all sorts of false walls rise. On one hand, false walls, they rise, and on the other, false attractions, false investments, false chasing of what is not worth chasing also takes place in aviveka. In viveka, which in this context goes hand in hand with alertness or attention. So in viveka, which is attention, I called it good news already, these walls, imaginary walls, fall. In cultivated value, the walls do not fall. In cultivated value, where there is no deep perception of the value, cultivation being a very superficial affair, we actually create some new walls. So the matter should not be building some new imaginary walls, Anything imagined, anything fanciful, anything which is just thought created has to go in right seeing. Therefore, to conclude, holistic observation is an observation cutting through several levels. At the extreme outer level, we see something, it attracts us, sense perception. Or our mind understands here there is some financial gain for me. It may not be sense perception, but a calculation of my mind. Ah, I will get 5 lakhs profit here. This is outer. But when I said on different levels, one becomes aware of, in my gaining 5 lakhs of financial benefit, or in my enjoying a certain sensual gratification, what happens to others? So there is wider scope of observation. And inwardly also, what makes me so excited about this profit of rupees 5 lakhs? What makes me so excited about this sense pleasure, the prospect of enjoyment, which is just around the corner? So one notices the movement of seeking pleasure, or equally, one notices the movement of avoiding or detesting, fearing pain, fearing some suffering. So there are levels and levels. There is a thought which is pushing you towards, let's say, a certain option. And that thought is further supported by another belief. That belief came into existence because of some other forms of opinion. So what is holistic? That's it. Whole. Be aware of the whole. Don't just be aware of profit here and gain there or loss there. Who is it who is seeking profit and what makes him seek profit? Who is it who is afraid of loss and what goes into that fear? Therefore, not through analysis, but through quiet watching, holistic observation takes place. And we are all capable of that. We must go about it gently. It's not a crash course or it's not a weekend. I'm going to, what is that expression? Whip it up. I want to do this holistic observation before Saturday night. So don't ask Harshadji or somebody. Give me 2 quick tips how I can by before Saturday midnight. I have become a master of holistic observation because Sunday I have a seminar and there I want to walk onto the stage and tell folks, don't, that is all wild. That wildness will not help in this matter. So friends, holistic observation is being aware of different aspects of the outer, different levels inside, whatever is relevant. Nobody is asking us to pay attention to things that are irrelevant. But the good news is when you are quietly watching, the relevant aspects of outer and inner present themselves before you without any hassle. So notice all that is relevant with no reservation, with no hesitation, with no preconceived agenda for or against anything, then you are into holistic observation. Thank you.
Thanks. May I request to ask question? This is a question answer session.
Yeah, some 5 or 10 minutes we can, 10 minutes we can have question answer. Then I would like to hear Harshadji and I have to leave at 7:15.
Okay.
Please
Okay.
do ask or please make comments. Comments also can be made on this talk I gave. Kamlesh Modak says quote is not showing. How can that be? I put it here for everyone.
No,
Quote
no,
is
sir, no,
not
sir.
seen.
It was
Let me-
not there.
Okay, I'll put it again then.
Yeah.
So, privately, here it is, everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what I did? I put it for everyone, but did not press the send button.
Yeah.
So it was just sitting there without being sent. You know, email also you have to press the send button, right? So now I'm sure everyone.
R. Vijay, please go ahead. R. Vijay, please go ahead.
R. Vijay. Mic on कर लीजिए विजय. Vijay's mic is muted.
Would you
Or has
please?
he? Maybe he has left the meeting.
I see.
I mean, though the
Mic is not unmuted. So you can write it. Vijay, R. Vijay, you can write it. R. Vijay, you can write it. And then Pradeep Verma.
R. Vijay says mic is not unmuting.
Yeah, but he can write it. In the, he can.
Or the host can, whoever is the host can unmute all mics for a moment.
Okay. Okay, sir. He is writing, sir. Siddhanandji, he is writing.
Yeah, he said he will
Vijay,
write.
R. Vijay.
Correct.
Sir, I'm unmuted. Can I speak?
Yeah.
Please do. Yeah, we can see.
Yes, sir. Namaste, Chidanandji.
Namaste.
Sir, as I have been, I'm hearing, when we are actually observing, I get to see that we are actually in that involvement state. We are actually trying to pick up knowledge and trying to decipher things. This is how it actually operates. Then there is something which is observation without any motive, where it is not about knowledge gathering or inferences or any of those things. Can there be some kind of what do you call expansion on this, sir?
Yeah, that is what we generally divide as functional and psychological. So in the latter domain, where you said we don't have to get anything, gain anything, that is the observation in the psychological domain, where our battle is only with psychological imaginary things. The first domain, where all of us have to act, say all of us, let's say with families, have to time and again see the finances, see how, as they say, food can be placed on the table for all the 7 members, 5 members in the family. And accordingly, we spend or save, invest or break our FDs. All that we do, that is the first domain. In the second domain, we have a gut feeling that certain hatred we feel inside us is questionable. That's where we observe things without any bias. And in all likelihood, that dislike, that hatred, that wanting to take revenge, etc., would melt away in the unbiased observation. In the functional domain, by our watching, the hunger of our family members will not disappear because it's biological, it's real, it is objective. Would you like to define once more the two areas which you mentioned, because I forgot the words that you had used. Especially how you define the second area. Again, it went mute, right?
Would you please write? Vijay, you can write it.
That may be a little long sentence, so he is hesitant.
Yeah. Still he is writing perhaps. What is the problem?
Not able to unmute himself.
Yeah. Thank you for the insightful understanding of the holistic education. Vijay, you are putting it, or I must allow someone else to ask? Kamlesh, can you help him to unmute?
Yes, I am doing that.
Yeah.
I am asking him to unmute, but he is not unmuting himself.
Can you unmute all? Then request
You
everybody
unmute.
to mute themselves except the person who needs to ask.
Sir, I am unmuted
Okay,
again.
Vijay is again, he is unmuted. Yeah.
Yeah, please ask.
Ji sir, ji sir. Sir, it was about how in the process of observation itself, we come into the line of gathering knowledge.
Yeah.
So therefore,
So-
this paradox that observation goes away to knowledge, and then we hold on to the process of knowledge and then trying to dissect it.
Yeah, so knowledge again is of two kinds, right? Functional knowledge, then there is psychological knowledge. So what we are extra concerned with is psychological knowledge. Like somebody comes and tells you in the entire world, Indians are the best people. This is psychological. To say we Indians are superior or inferior, either way. You know, to have notions of our family being a meritorious family. So all kinds of judgmentalism, where judgments are questionable. To think all Pakistanis are wicked or something, you know, this is all psychological knowledge. Some articles would try to make you believe so. So that's knowledge. You read an article, the article is arguing that everybody in Pakistan is wicked. So a certain piece of knowledge tends to enter you. That is psychological knowledge. Whereas if it is functional knowledge, if the article says Islamabad is the capital of Pakistan, that is objective. There is nothing psychological about it. Therefore, without making it long, I would say any knowledge that gets generated in us belongs to two camps. One is functional, other is psychological. And this psychological knowledge needs to be constantly, watched with extra care so that no prejudice hijacks us.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm saying whatever I can, but I too don't know all this exhaustively. So we are together exploring.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So I think another hand has gone up somewhere.
Pradeep Verma. Pradeep Verma, please unmute and ask.
चिदानंद जी नमस्कार.
Namaskar, Verma ji.
Can this art of seeing holistically be cultivated, or is it natural? Because certain people are naturally sensitive. Because sensitivity is a very important thing in being holistic. You see? So it cannot, to me, it is quite a bit natural to people. And the division between biology and psychology is also not that much there. The biology ultimately leads to psychology. You don't know how and when. And you said earlier that all of us are unique. So that fragmentation, you take it for granted as it's a fact, right? So that fragmentation is already there, and associated with circumstantially also, we are in different situations where the self, there are certain people who are happy with even little and they get satisfied, they can see around and they do see around because their level of that self-satisfaction is at a particular level. But everything is psychosomatic to me. So this dividing into this also a fragmentation of a different nature. So seeing holistically is a very, very, very rare thing. Otherwise, this message would have reached most of the people. But invariably, symbols and those things are supplied to pacify their actual needs. So seeing holistically is definitely important, and the best you can get only when you just see. So I know the importance of seeing holistically to get the best out of, I don't know what that whole means. Once we look at something, the mind is also working, the mind sees that, and the optical system also. So what is whole? When I see something, how much is whole? All these things, of course, I am now raising out of mind to understand what is that whole, how much is the whole for a seer or for an observer. So these are the small basic questions that come to me. Thank you very much for, if you can say something about it.
I think you began asking whether holistic observation can be cultivated. Every word, including this word cultivated, may mean different things to different people. If we are
Yes.
using the word cultivated or the word cultivate in an accumulative sense, day after day I do something and then ensure that it becomes a part of my being, it becomes a strong habit with me. That would not work here in holistic observation, because holistic observation is more about undoing rather than doing. In accumulation, there is doing. Here it is undoing. We undo any bias, including this concern for learning a skill and like putting a, as the expression goes, a feather on my cap. So if I were to learn some functional skill, in computer science, I do a course on artificial intelligence. I learn something called SAP or Java or something. Then I come and tell you, now I know Java, I know SAP. I have done a preliminary course on AI. That is all possible because it is cumulative knowledge and it's very helpful in certain problem solving. But that is not possible in holistic observation, because in holistic observation, rather than adding something, putting another feather on the cap, we have to let go, remove feathers from our cap, for we have somehow a certain form of self-interest. So all I can say is to that question, can it be cultivated? No, it cannot be cultivated. However, by living attentively, more and more of our confusions drop off. They drop off if we have a receptive learning mind, if we are open to learn something which might hurt us sometimes. Some learning is very painful. When we notice what the other person is saying is true, and we are fighting it out. We wanted to show how I am right and he is wrong. But then slowly in quiet thinking, we notice that he is right and I am wrong. Then if we are opening up, fine, then I will go by what is shown. Because what is right never belongs to anybody. What is right is something, this person has shown it, that's all. Therefore, in that openness, a large amount of unburdening takes place. And we would not call it cultivation. Cultivation is additive, accumulative, whereas this holistic observation is subtractive. And what remains when we no more are influenced by memory, no more are influenced by some fancy, some belief. Yeah. Yes, Hareshwar Singh wants to say something. In fact, in your chat box, I think in chat box there is a way to raise hand also. Anyway, I saw your hand in the video. आप microphone unmute कर लीजिए. We cannot hear you, Hareshwar Singh. So, आपका mic क्यों on नहीं हो रहा है?
Kamlesh, would you please unmute everybody so that he can ask the question?
Namaskar. I was constantly seeing the message, the host is not allowing you to unmute. I don't know whether it was small lapse on somebody's part or there is some real valid technical glitch. Anyway, Swamiji, I was just wondering about one thing. Like some people feeling that Pakistanis are bad people, wicked people. Some people are saying that Indians are good people. And it may be a fallacy, it may be a mistaken belief and all that. One thought arose in my mind. Suppose someday it is proved that Pakistanis are not actually bad people, they are good people. Does it help me to become a good human being? So Pakistanis being wicked people doesn't mean a good person, and Pakistanis being good people doesn't make me a good person either. Let me take one example of Swamiji, like Hitler. I wonder if any one of us, I think it is an uphill task to look at the picture of Hitler, like Krishnaji says, if you look at the rose and the word rose arises in your mind, then you are not observing actually the flower. The word rose, the word flower, they prevent you from observation. So, same way, to look at a human face and to name it, title it Hitler is certainly not holistic observation. I feel that I am just a beginner when it comes to really actually living the teachings. But yes, Krishnaji has given a very, very not only valuable, invaluable. They say that diamonds are valuable, but Kohinoor is invaluable. Valuable means of high value, invaluable means you cannot measure its value. Formula, holistic observation, where the observer and the observed are one. And he has made us realize that the observer is a fallacy. There is no observer. That is why he never tired of repeating it all his life. The thinker is the thought. Same way that human face, all the contours with wrinkles, without the word wrinkles, Hitler's mustache, probably dyed hair, colored hair, observing it with such totality that the word Hitler, the devil, the architect of Second World War, the killer of Jews, nothing comes to my mind. There is just that image, just that image means what? Not that psychological image, just that very thing in front of me, just like the very thing that is people tree or rose or anything. And that has been put under the spotlight of awareness, but there is no one aware. So I'm sorry, somebody may say, Swamiji warned us that analysis is paralysis, and Harish, you are indulging it. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I may be. But this is not my word. When Krishna said, there is no observer. He said the observer is the observer. There is no thinker. Thinker is the thought. So if Swamiji is not available, I would like Harshadji or anyone to throw some light on it. Thank you.
Sir, I would like to ask a question to Swamiji. Can I?
Let's Chidananji answer it first.
Yeah,
If
Ramarao, what
Chidananji-
is your question?
Chidananji. Chidananji, what Harishji said, do you please want to comment on that?
I think I missed a part of it. Can the sentence be put in one sentence once more?
Yeah. Harishji, would you please repeat it?
Yes, I said, Swamiji, my basic contention was Pakistanis, just one example that you cited, and of course there is nothing great or particular about it. Okay, Pakistanis are bad people and good people. What Krishnaji terms as, if you are serious, and we all know more or less what his definition is. He never uses the word if you are a spiritual seeker, if you are a mumukshu. No, he doesn't use those loaded words.
Correct. He doesn't use
serious.
those two words.
Okay. So, I mean, or there may be disputes about Pakistanis and all that, but there is no dispute about Hitler being a wicked person, an evil devil, and Gandhi being the embodiment of all good. Okay. Factually true or not, I'm not concerned. Who cares? Now, Gandhi was a good person. It doesn't mean that Gandhi was a good person, I become a good human being. And Hitler was a bad person. It doesn't mean that if I am still a bad person, Hitler is responsible. So even if something is not a mere prejudice, but 100% a fact, it has nothing to do with my transformation or change at all. And then I said, okay, let us take the example of Hitler. Like Krishnaji reminds us, can you look at the rose without the rose? Somebody would say, yes, now the rose is gone. Only the word flowers is there. No, now you have gone to the next step. There is no rose, there is no flower. Okay, only pink or red is there. That also is gone. So I cited Swamiji. Krishnaji has given a very good weapon, instrument, if I can use this. He said, the observer is fictitious. And that is why he said, the observer is the observed. Observer is that chronic entity which has to die and which is based on probably the deepest rooted avidya or ajnana. But yes, observed means no matter how elevated soul one is, I mean, the tree is tree. Only thing is that when I look at the tree, I see only the leaves, the color and all that with or without the words. But a jnani will look at the tree and and able to see that essential life force which flows in the tree same way as it flows in me. That is the only difference. So I am saying, Swamiji, that Hitler's face, without the word Hitler, without the word mustache, his mustache, okay, no word, not even the word face, not even that he was the architect of Second World War. So the Hitler's picture that is in front of me on the cover of a magazine, that is the only reality, and there is no one observing that. Yes, somebody may say, but how long can I look at it without any thought or image of Hitler whatsoever? Okay, that is what Swamiji Louis S.R. Vyas called it when he published an article in Illustrated Weekly, The Yoga of Krishnamurti. So observation, that is the only breath in one's life, whose life, whom Krishnaji likes to call serious person. When the
All right.
observer and the observed are one.
Very, very nice. So yeah, that's true. What do we have to lose or gain by all those opinions? We have to understand the movement of our mind. So I think, do we have time for Ramarao's question, or should we now listen to Harshad ji?
I am having a question to Swamiji.
Harshad ji, first Harshad ji and then Wagmar. So because it is already 7:04, so at least 10 minutes let Harshad sir say something, and then Wagmar will able to ask.
Swamiji will be there or not?
I will stay.
No, he will be not there. He will be coming after 15 days. Every 15 days he is available to you. Harshad Parikh sir, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Okay, let's hear.
So I have to talk in fragments only.
Yeah. Fragments only. Fragments only if you like this.
Okay.
Okay.
So don't waste time. Let Harshad Parikh say something.
Okay.
Okay.
Please go ahead, Harshad. Please go ahead.
Are you able to hear my voice?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Thank you. We are talking about observation, holistic observation, the actual observation in that there are no words. It's not a looking with words, description, with the sense of observer and the observed. So this is a phenomenon but we are trying to use words to explain. And as Krishnaji says, the word observation or holistic is not the real thing. And so only when a person who has been able to look at things and thoughts in a different way than the usual way. Okay, I tell you about a little girl. She was looking at the full moon and she was smiling, looking at it and pointing out to others, look at that thing. And I don't think that she knew that it was called moon, but she was very happy looking. And then her sister, older sister, she was about 7, 8 years old. She was going to school, and during Diwali time, there were beautiful firecrackers going in the sky, creating very beautiful colorful pattern in the sky. And I called that girl, 7, 8 years old, and I said, look. And she said, oh, haven't you seen that? So already she had seen such pattern, and then it had become a memory. And through that memory, she was looking, and in that, she did not find anything very new. So this happens to all of us when we are young. We see everything so beautiful, butterflies or flower. And I used to work in a garden, and I used to look at a rose flower and the dewdrop on it and the sunlight falling on it and the light entering in my eyes, and the dewdrop looked like a diamond, and the colors keep on changing. It's so beautiful. It's actually non-verbal, but we are expressing it in the words. And generally, when we go to high school, college, our brain is filled up with so much knowledge, then we lose that way of looking at things and people in a very fresh way. But I feel that it is possible for us, in spite of having knowledge, to come to that state where we can look at everything without the word and just look and see it very fresh, very beautiful, new every day. Even if we are looking at that flowers every day, it looks new. And that's what happened to Buddha when he got enlightenment and when he opened his eyes and he looked at the morning star and he looked in a way he had not looked before. He knew that something new had happened in him. So I feel that some qualitative change happens in our brain, and then we look at everything in a different way. And I feel that way because before reading Krishnamurti, I was walking on the campus of Iowa State and looking at there is so much beauty around, but I was occupied with my own thinking. But when I came across the book of Krishnamurti, I began to look very, very curiously what was happening, how these thoughts were arising. And in that state, I experienced something new, and then some changes began to happen in my brain, in my body, and I begin to really see the beauty which is around us every day. It is there in the sunrise, sunset, in the stars, in the cloud, and the flowers, trees. And one day I was in Valley School. I was just looking at a tree and I was not looking at anything particular. And a friend came and he asked me Is there something interesting you are looking at? So I just said, everything is interesting. And he liked my answer. And he felt that if a person who feels everything interesting, it means that his mind must be free to look. And that is what Krishnaji is talking about. Even to children, how do you look at the tree? How do you look at the friend of your friend or husband or wife? So these are a great question, and there is a great possibility for human beings to come upon that holistic observation and not describing it, not analyzing it, because no matter how much one describes, like Krishnaji describing beautifully in the commentaries on living about his experience of oneness with a woman who was carrying a burden and walking, and he felt like he was that woman. That means there is no sense of self, complete freedom, and in that the mind expands. It no longer remains localized within and feels that everything is, you are everything.
पेंट लाना पड़ेगा फिर उसका छोटा काम है वो तो
Yes, so this is
Some sound is
possible.
coming from Vermaji's house. Please,
Yeah.
please see, please see.
Yeah, so there is a great possibility exists in human beings if people would like to give their life to look inside aloneness without fear, because generally our mind doesn't want to look inward. It feels a bit frightened, even feels frightened to be alone. So from my own experience or a way of living, I feel that everything is really new. Only we carry the memory and the knowledge. Of course, memory and knowledge are necessary. And I can look at a flower without the word and without just look. But if somebody asks me, what is the name of the flower? I will say it is a rose or it is a sunflower or whatever it is. But when I am looking at the bird, all that knowledge is not existing when I go for a walk. And even in the same way, one can look at human beings, even though you live with them every day, you can look, and in that look, everything is so clear, everything is fresh. So, yes, the teachings are of Krishnamurti can lead people to come to that observation in which there are no words, no knowledge, no sense of I, and just looking. And in that, one can say the observer and the observed are one. There is no space between. And I felt it very quickly. Even when I was in Iowa, I was looking through the window of my hostel at a light, in the church light, and it looked so beautiful, as if there is no space between that street light and me. And even when driving, one can feel that sense of real beauty. In that, there is love, beauty, happiness, all the things exist in such a state in which there are not many words. But one can use the words when it is necessary. And I feel that Krishnaji lived that way. He looked at everything without that sense of self. Even when I met him for the first time, I felt that he was just looking. There was no mind. And my mind also stopped. And we looked at each other and completely non-verbal meeting. So great possibility exists. And I can go on telling many things, but we don't have much time. And if somebody has any question, either to Swamiji or to me, I'll be happy to answer. Thank you.
First of all, Mr. Wagmare, you ask a question. If Swamiji is not there, then anybody whomsoever has got an answer will answer.
No, actually, I wanted to ask question to Swamiji only.
Okay,
I'm here,
then,
I'm here.
then ask. Yeah, he is very much there. Now
So-
ask. Now the question is, now it is a hot question.
Swamiji,
Hot,
why do we,
Ah,
Swamiji is there?
Yeah, yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
But there.
Sir, I wanted to ask a question. Any observation will be always be fragmented because self is involved. Any interpretation will be done by self only. So all the observations will always be having, will be always be fragmented. So why do we, basically we have to address a question, why do we require holistic observation?
all observation necessarily has the self in it is questionable. It is questionable. One doesn't have to be some enlightened person. One doesn't have to be some extraordinary person. Every one of us has the capacity. At times, we can have insights into things, and we are noticing things without the self. And what may happen once in a while for us here and there, that is observing without the self, is being encouraged here. Someone like Krishnaji might be able to observe things almost all the time without the self, maybe. But that frequency, how often in a day one is able to observe without the self is not important. We must never quantify, we must never, compare ourselves with somebody else. Because time and how many times we are doing that, etc., is unnecessary here. Even in one situation in a fortnight, one situation in a month, suppose you are able to look at the situation with no self-interest, celebrate that. And do not, this is not business, or this is not a matter of where we keep a record how many times. Rather, so I dispute that question, that statement.
Sir,
that
my
there
question
cannot be
was-
observation without the self.
Sir, my question was, any observation without self per se is an absurd thing.
No.
Always, just listen to me, sir. So there will be always a self involved in it when any action has to be performed, even at the level of perception. If perception is action, at that level also, self will always be involved. So why basically the holistic this observation is required? That was my question.
Correct. So to that question, I'm saying it is not right to say there cannot be observation without the self. There can be observation without the self. Even the so-called ordinary people like you and me can observe without the self. And that is holistic observation. That is what we, in a manner of saying, aim at. It's not a matter of cultivation. You are saying there cannot be observation without the self is
No,
like
why does
saying
it require, sir?
no one
Why-
can be attentive at all, no one can be alert at all, no one can be aware. That would be pulling the carpet below all of our feet. All these discussions are a waste of time in that case.
No, sir. No, sir. My question is, why do we require holistic observation?
For being free of conflict, sir. I asked Harshadji to throw some light on it. Please, Harshadji,
Yeah.
throw some light on this.
Yeah. If we have not experienced like that, looking without the word, without the sense, without analyzing, then no matter what people say, it will not make any sense, because we try to understand everything through the words, through thinking. And it has become like a habit after we have gone to school and colleges. And even people study Krishnamurti's teachings, just like studying history or geography. They are gathering some concept out of reading Krishnamurti, but that is not the way one can understand Krishnamurti. One needs freedom at the beginning to understand, to look. So this may seem like very contradictory, but Krishnaji himself says freedom is not at the end, it is at the beginning. How do you read? How do you listen? How do you look? And this can happen to people who are deeply interested not in understanding Krishnamurti's teachings, but understanding oneself, how these thoughts are arising, and
ನನ್ಗೀಗ
give.
ಒಂದು ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಇದೆ. ಹೇಳಿ, ಒಂದ್ ನಿಮಿಷದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳೋಕಾದ್ರೆ ಹೇಳಿ.
Yeah. So it depends on whether we want to give our whole energy, attention to looking at what is happening within us initially. And then we can also look outside also very clearly. Because if we are not clear inside, we cannot see things outside clearly. So what is inside, it projects outside. So when there is a real beauty within us, we see real beauty in the sky, in nature, in sunrise, sunset, in changing colors, in the expression on the face of human beings. So it has to do with a different way of looking, and I feel that it has to do with change happening within the brain, our brain. Because our brain is still evolving. It has not fully evolved. And even scientists are saying that we are using only a very small part of our brain. And there are so many possibilities exist for the human brain to feel what the great mystics like Buddha or Krishnamurti have felt. Okay, I finish.
Sir, my question here is.
Have you understood it? Or you
No,
will say
I'm
something?
asking, yes, I want to ask something to Harshad Parekh, sir.
Okay, right.
Okay, now it is Harshad Parikh's turn.
Hmm.
Chidanand ji may go.
To whom you are
Chidanand
asking,
ji
sir?
is out of question now.
Yes, yes, yes. He's here. Sir, freedom at the beginning. He is at the
Harshad sir,
beginning.
you will have to stay.
Anytime he can.
Harshad sir will have to stay here till, otherwise he himself will answer the question what he asked.
I am no
Please go
more
ahead.
questionable.
Vagwara, please ask.
Sir, my question is, I have seen a tree without naming it. I have enjoyed whatever you said. I have enjoyed it. I have seen the beauty and whatever else you have said, accepted.
Right.
Again, I am caught back in my thought world. So am I not making any different kind of split in thought world as well as this without naming it, terming, I am seeing a tree? Is it not another kind of fragmentation?
No, knowledge is necessary when it is in our daily life. We cannot live without memories, with knowledge. We have to function in the world, in relationship. So there is a memory, there is a knowledge, but when a person can look without that knowledge operating mechanically and making it like if somebody has insulted me, and then I remember that, and then that person comes again and that memory comes. So it means that something has been stored and it is revived. But what I am saying that this possibility exists in human beings to look at everything without using knowledge, thinking, when it is not necessary. But if somebody asks question, yeah, you have to use.
Sir,
words.
I am seeing the tree without naming and terming. When I am caught up in the thought world, I got hurt because of somebody insulted me. Now, does this looking without naming and terming becomes another trick? I am just escaping from this thought world and my problems into without naming terming sort of thing, or in the choiceless awareness so called.
Yeah, all these questions will arise as long as that thing has not happened. If I tell you myself, I did not ask what Krishnamurti means by this or that. I'm interested in looking inside without asking questions, because so many things is going on. But when you ask questions, you narrow down, you give a direction, and then there are words and ideas, and you go in a particular intellectual way of learning. But I did not do that.
Sir,
I did not
holistic,
ask questions.
sir,
Yeah.
my question is holistic way of looking at the things covers
Pradeep
both the
Verma
things.
is
No?
answering. Pradeep Verma is answering perhaps.
Sir,
Pradeep
just a
Verma
moment, sir. I
Pradeep
want to
Verma.
discuss with Harshad Parekh, sir. Sir,
Ah.
just a
Please, sir.
moment. Then Mr. Verma can answer, sir. Then Mr. Verma can answer subsequently. I just want to discuss with Harshad Parekh, sir.
It
Does
is
not
already
holistic.
7:27. Just listen me.
Sir, give
It
me
is
just
already
give me one
7:27.
second, sir.
At 7:30 I
I'm
will close
requesting
it.
you.
No, you are requesting me and I am
Leave
obeying
it.
that.
Okay, leave it. Okay, leave it.
I am obeying it. But let
Okay,
Pradeep
leave
Verma
it.
say
Okay,
something.
leave it. Okay, leave it.
May it finish your question. May it finish your question. Pradeep Verma ji, please.
Just I wanted to clarify a little what Vagmare ji is trying to convey. When we see freshness, when we see that beauty, when we see that vastness and expanse, when we see that, some sort of subtle self is in that, give that much margin to that subtle self. Otherwise, Krishnamurti, I am not, actually I should not take someone's name, but when he could repeat it verbatim, he could repeat that leaf was like that and turned around so much, and so much of light was coming, and everything he could repeat as a memory. But we would like to say he is selfless. He was selfless. But what Vagmare is saying, some subtle self is there to enjoy that freshness, the beauty, and those moments with the background of something old, definitely. So that contrast has to be there to call it beauty, to call it fresh. So that is what probably he is trying to say, that which we are so conditioned that he was a selfless man. A particular man was a selfless man. So that he can never be associated with any self. But self, otherwise, it cannot be bad. Self is not bad always. It is not bad always. But exclusively when I want something out of the whole only for me, that self is bad. That self is bad. Otherwise, what is self is always there. There is nothing wrong in it. The beauty, everything is also enjoyed by that. You may call it bhokta and that and other things. A number of words can be used, but where is the harm that this is enjoyed by something, and he remembers that, and he can repeat it. I think my question is pretty clear. Thank you very much.
Vagmare, still you wanted to ask anything?
Yeah,
It is seven.
what I wanted to
Ramarao has
say.
left it. Ramarao has said goodbye to you because
Okay.
it is
Thank you.
left
He's free to go,
but
sir. I don't have any problem.
Okay.
What I wanted to say, does not
You wanted to
holistic,
say still something without self or with self?
sir, kindly, with due respect, kindly allow me to say something.
Okay,
Does
without
not-
self or with self? Without self or with self? I'm just
Self,
asking.
in my case, self always will be there, sir.
Self will be
I
there?
can't say that I am without self.
Okay. okay.
Any
Then,
address to any
with self you
relationship
ask.
is with self involvement only, sir.
Okay.
Any
okay.
relationship when you go, it is with the self involvement. Anyway,
No,
my
general
question
statement I
was-
don't want. I wanted a specific statement from you
this
only.
is okay. You can take it as a specific statement. Okay, right?
Okay.
Now what I
Now,
wanted to say.
yeah, finish it within
does
a
not-
minute. Please finish
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Are within
in a
few
minute.
seconds, sir. Within few seconds. Don't
Okay.
not
Thank-
to worry.
Thank you.
Not to worry.
Thank you.
Uh,
No, I am not worried. I am enjoying. The way you
Okay.
enjoyed the tree, I am enjoying your discussion, sir.
Okay,
Without
thanks.
self-
Thanks a lot. Okay, thanks a lot. Does not, my question was, does not holistic observation include observation with naming and terming also, and observation without naming and terming also? So holistic, when you say, it has to cover all the aspects, isn't it? All the possible aspects, isn't it? What you have to say, sir?
Yes, when you look at something, the image falls on the retina and things gets recorded. And then if you want to write about it later on, you have to use language. But there is no thinking when you are looking. Though the image falls on the retina, the actual physical image, and things do get recorded, but the knowledge does not interfere in looking. And I like to ask you a question. Have you asked
Sir,
yourself?
that should be the last question. Parik sir,
Yeah.
that should be the last question.
Yeah,
By
yes,
you.
yes. Yeah, not only to you, but to all people. Why do we ask questions? What is behind it? Are we trying to find out something, or we want to really see something clearly? Because when you ask question, there will be answer and there will be words and explanation. But in looking inward, there are no question. It is just looking. It's just like a river flowing, and just to look and not to interfere. That is what Krishnaji calls it choiceless awareness. And that is what the teachings, it's not against thinking. It is about a different dimension called awareness, which can look at thinking as it is, and which doesn't create problems, conflicts, and doubts and all that thing. So that dimension of awareness or intelligence, as long as it is not awakened, there will be many questions. And one can ask 1,000 questions, one can get very good answers, but still that process of asking question will not die. It will remain because one has not really looked clearly. And when one looks clearly, one doesn't need to read anybody. No Krishnamurti, no Vedant, no Zen, nothing required, because inside you, if the anger is coming, you can see the anger is coming, or fear, or loneliness, or jealousy. And the moment you see it, it's dissolved. That is what Krishnaji calls, in the light of awareness, all problems created by thinking are dissolved. So the whole teachings is about coming to that state of choiceless awareness, which can look at everything what is unfolding within us as well as outside us. Okay, I finish. Thank you.
Do you
Wagmara,
want to
please
make-
go ahead.
Do you want to make comment on my comment on that? Can I
No,
say
you have
something?
to answer this. You have to answer this. You have to answer this.
Yes.
Please answer.
See, sir, as far as I am
What you are
concerned,
asking questions.
as far as I am concerned, all the perceptions of individual are having limitations. So whenever he goes into conversation with any other person, what Krishnamurti said, it's a new inquiry. It's not a question. It's a new inquiry. It's looking at the things that as a fresh, and you are moving also along with the other person and learning. So that is what happens. In any dialogue, with the conversation with anybody, you get the new aspects of the some whatever has been talked or whatever the subject is. That's what I want to say.
Should I finish it right now, sir? Harshad
sir.
Parikh sir, with your permission, I am finishing it.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you very much. Thank you,
Thank
Wagmare.
you. Thank you,
Thank
Jain sir,
you.
for allowing me to say something.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you said something?
Thank you
I
for
could
allowing
not
me to say
listen.
something. Thank you.
Thank you all.
So
Thank you,
kind
sir.
of you. So kind of you.
But don't take that liberty next time, please.
Okay.
This should be the last question and last answer.
How can we grow,
Thank you.
sir? If you don't give us the
Kamlesh.
opportunity, how do we grow?
Kamlesh ji, please close it. Thank you, Harshad Parikh sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks
Thank
to
you, Harshad
every
Parikh, sir.
participant.
Thank you.
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.